Hey, welcome to Crafty Music Tips. This is yet another reaction video from me, Crafty, a full-time musician, and I like doing these types of reaction videos where I check out really early videos of successful artists, bands, that type of thing, because you can really learn from them.
You are so learned.
Learned, son. It's pronounced learned.
So in this video, I thought I would check out some really early Guns N' Roses. Let's check it out. Pre-Guns N' Roses, Hollywood Rose, Anything Goes from 1983. Let's check it out. All right, before I go on, there's a few things to comment on here. This is really interesting. It doesn't appear as though that they're actually performing this live here. It sounds like they recorded it, like a home studio style recording perhaps. And this looks like a rehearsal space where possibly a friend or family member of someone in the band has got like a camcorder, an early video camera, and they're just kind of miming along, playing along. Everything's out of focus. How's all those fluorescent lights up the top? But yeah, obviously, I guess this is something really early on. Obviously, like, you can tell that they can play, you can tell that they can sing, it's great. But imagine this band, imagine seeing this and knowing that they're going to be one of the biggest bands around the world. Okay, wow, this is really raw, low budget. I mean, the sound is actually really quite decent. But yeah, I'm assuming that this must have been a video where what bands do is they'll just get some sort of a recording so they can send it to a venue, send it to, you know, some sort of a promoter, someone that can then give them a gig, give them a tour, and maybe even a record deal. So perhaps what I'll do instead of listening to the rest of this song is find another video which is them actually performing live. Maybe actually as the early Guns N' Roses. I'm not too sure if Slash had joined this particular outfit at this stage. But one thing I will say is that it's a pretty good sounding rockin' song, and you can tell Axl already had killer pipes on him. So let's see, what's another video that we got here? Sweet Child of Mine, live from 1986. Well, as far as I'm aware, Appetite for Destruction was recorded and released in 87, so this would be pretty early. Okay, so they're live at Music Machine in Los Angeles. Been to the Whiskey and the Rainbow, and what's the other one? The Viper Room. They're all really close together on the Strip. But never heard of Music Machine. Let me know in the comments below if you've ever been there and if it's still around. All right, so you can already tell here that the level of this video is not going to be too high in quality, but that's okay. We can already tell that they're tuning up and they're kind of just goofing around, playing some riffs in between songs, something that you would never hear a high quality stadium act doing. Now, that little riff there that one of the guitarists is playing is something that you can do in between songs, but it wouldn't be goofing around. It would be, sort of reminiscent of someone like Angus Young from AC/DC will kind of like play a riff and then kind of stop and then, get the crowd to cheer at his riff and then, kind of play with it, increase the tension.
It's a song called Sweet Child of Mine.
There's that iconic riff. Now, speaking of iconic riffs, just quickly here, I have a mate that works in a music store, and I asked him what was the #1 riff that got played as a tester on guitars in the music store, and he said Sweet Child of Mine was. What is it in your experience that's the #1 riff of all time? Now, is that Axel wearing a G-string with arseless chaps? Interesting. I find this interesting in a number of ways. Slash is playing that main riff all through the verses, which in the main recording he doesn't. He just plays some chords. And Axel's lyrics are the same, and the melody that he's just performing here is just a few tweaks slightly different, which is it's really nice hearing, some different variations of the melody. Also, very curiously here, Slash's solo was just ever so slightly different. And it doesn't look like that he's playing a Les Paul. It might be like a Jackson or an Ibanez or something like that. It's a bit hard to tell with the quality of the video, but I would absolutely have loved to have been there, like in the flesh, seeing a band performing such a huge worldwide hit before it was even recorded. Do you have any experiences like that in your life where you've kind of had brushes with famous artists before they've actually, really hit the big time? Let me know in the comments below. Wow, hearing that riff all through the verse, it makes the song sound so different. To be honest, I am used to that version, but I also think, no, it's probably a good idea that he stops playing that riff, because it's kind of like two feature elements that are kind of competing for our attention. All right, just before we hear this second solo, you can see, even with the dodgy video quality, you can see how much of a world-class frontman that Axl Rose is. He's really strutting his stuff, owning the stage, really just giving the audience a memorable performance. Yeah, love that. What? Yes. Woo! There's no doubt in my mind why Slash is one of the most revered guitarists in the world, always either winning or in the top 5, top 10 of the greatest guitarists of all time competitions and lists and so forth in guitar magazines. And obviously he's refined that solo over time in the clubs leading up to recording in the studio. But he had the essence there. He knew that, early on, it doesn't need straight away, just a solo that you can hum and sing doesn't mean it's an inferior solo. In my opinion, a lot of the time it means it's superior, but, horses for courses. But the really good thing to hear is that he kind of had a really good idea of the structure. Now, so talking about this, it's just reminding me of a really good mate of mine. His name's B-Flat Matt, and he gets nicknamed B-Flat Matt because as a saxophone player and a trombonist, he's just so good at doing improvised solos. He never does a dud one. And I was talking to him about it, and he says that it doesn't matter how good your licks are, it doesn't matter what chops you have, it's all about structure. So if you think about anything in life, it doesn't matter how good the elements are if the overall structure isn't presented in the best, most efficient and viable type of way. And so Slash's guitar solos are definitely a tick for his structure. It starts off as something that you can kind of hum along to and sing, and then he just gradually builds the tension, builds it, and then right at the end he's going nuts, and it really is a world-class structured solo. And that's why all these years later it's still never tiring to listen to. It's always a pleasure listening to such a good solo that has a good structure. Now, that's interesting. That where do we go, that really low where do we go sounded really low for Axl's range on that particular day. Let's have another listen. Yeah, and then he's up the octave. Yes. That's fantastic for a number of reasons. One, I mean, like, what a killer band, what a killer singer, what a great outro. It's one of the most classic outros of all time for a reason, because it sounds awesome. But did you notice, I think Axl came in one too early, and I think Slash was kind of like, yep, no, we're finished, but the band kept playing. And so I genuinely love hearing mistakes like that, knowing that, a band that became one of the biggest bands in the world, a household name, they're human, and this was really early on. So they were still trying to get the hang of their songs and performing and knowing each other musically, all of that kind of thing. So I really enjoy hearing like, oh, that was an oops moment. It just makes me feel okay that I'm a human being. And sometimes oops moments happen to me as a musician. So there we go. Sweet Child live from 1986, before it was recorded. What did you learn? Is there something that I've missed? I've really enjoyed checking out this, but I feel like that this reaction video is concluded now by us learning that, Guns N' Roses, they had a bunch of really good things happening, but it wasn't everything yet. They still needed to spend their time rehearsing, practicing, and writing and recording so that then they could become the act that became really well known and really successful. So let me know in the comments below, is there another act that you'd like me to react to? Now, this YouTube channel is called Crafty Music Tips for a reason. There's a host of different varied music tips related videos, so go check out something that will be really helpful and relevant to you. But if that's still not enough, I have one quick parting gift. It's called 5 Steps to Fast Improvement. Now, all you need is the 5 steps to improve at a fast rate. It's kind of as simple as that. Look, we all chase our tail and we get a little bit distracted in whatever it is that we want to improve at in our life. So what I do is I just lay out the 5 steps to make it really clear so that you can then improve at whatever instrument or whatever musical thing that you're striving for. So if that sounds like something helpful, go check out the link below. It's a free download. So there you have it, this full-time musician reacting to an early Guns N' Roses video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in another Crafty Music Tips video really soon. Wherever you are, take care.